Коллеги, добрый день.
Hello, dear colleagues. We suggest to begin our session, and my name is Elena Denisova, Deputy Director to the Department of Pharmaceutical and Medical Industry, and we are involved in promotion of our medical production into the market. And pharmaceutical industry is really important. We would like to discuss various issues related to this industry and what we face. And we are talking about halal issues as far as we are related to Islamic world closely, and there are different ingredients that are related to this point, and halal approach is really important to our industry. So it is important thing to regulate this industry properly and getting it certified. And it would be good to hear from our today's speakers. And before we begin our discussion and our acquaintance, I would like to give the floor to Guzel Vafaevna Mubinova, Chief of Staff of the Health Committee of the Council of Muftis of Russia. Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you, dear colleagues, dear friends, Salam alaikum. Peace to you and grace from the God Almighty. And I would like to bring you greetings from Mufti Shahravil Ganuddin of the Russian Federation with suggestions and best. So I would like to tell you about the activity of the Spiritual Council. 5 years ago, there was a decree of Sheikh Ravil Gamuddin, and our committee has been created officially. It has been done not only for keeping the interconventional peace, for international cooperation in various spheres, but also for closer relations between countries of Islamic cooperation organization members. Our committee was involved in medical social assistance for people in need, and further we realized that we could be more useful in various other spheres. And the committee is developing in a few tracks: scientific approach, digitalization, medical tourism, international cooperation in the field of healthcare. And as far as our regular work concerns, participating in various international forums, improving our relationships with partnership countries, business missions, different trips for exchange, and spiritual council of Islamic cooperation, and personal participants of Sheikh Ganuddin. We obtain more trust in Islamic world. In 2020, we have addressed to International Economic Kazan Forum to organize a healthcare session in the framework of this forum, and we are organizational partners of the forum since that time. And last year, this forum became a federal level forum, and we are closely cooperating with Ministry of Healthcare of the Russian Federation, Ministry of Industry of the Russian Federation, and we are closely cooperating with our partners, and more and more often we get requests from Islamic world representatives for cooperation in various non-profile areas, like finding options for investment in the Russian Federation, long-term partnership relations in the sphere of healthcare, and we are ready to work with Islamic countries. We know very well the position of the Russian Federation and the culture of the Islamic world. And one of the results of this cooperation was our close relations with Turkish colleagues, and we have invited one of our friends and partners who is from Turkey, and he is the director of one of the pharmaceutical countries. But not only that, she is, from the standpoint of medical tourism, is a very important partner. And working together as biomedical pharma, we know exactly whom we can trust to and which companies we can bring to the Russian market from the Islamic world. But do they really have such an opportunity? We have this opportunity, fortunately, through our Islamic Cooperation Organization, Council of Muftis of Russia. We know whom to trust, and therefore we are ready for such cooperation. We are open to be of help in this field. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you, Güzel. And now I would like to mention that we have changed the number of our speakers. The Qutayba Hassan from Syria requested to be the first to give his speech, so you're welcome. Thank you so much. Peace to you from merciful God. This is a greeting from Islamic countries. This is a blessing that will stay with you, and it comes from the teaching of God Almighty due to His divine address that provide peace and calm for all the peoples on earth. Marhaba is another greeting in old Aramaic language, language of Jesus Christ. God is love, and up to now in Syria we use this greeting as the main greeting in Syria. And this confirms that holy address is peace, love, and goodness. First of all, let me bring my words of gratitude to the leadership of the Russian Federation and President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, and organizers of the Islamic Forum, Kazan Forum, for their constant efforts and activation of cooperation between Russia and Islamic world. Dear friends, I'm here in front of you as a Syrian citizen, a Muslim, and a person, a business person who is in charge of developing peace and prosperity on earth. I would say that health over human is a real priority for economic development. And our company, KH Group, is following the quality of this work. We have it as our motto, that health is the right and not luxury. Unfortunately, the microphone stopped working. Would you please take care of this, technical team? Unfortunately, the achievements of recent years in Islamic world countries became difficult due to the wars and unfair one-side sanctions that demonstrated clearly the pressure on the healthcare sector, especially medications and medical equipment. And probably one of the most vivid examples of that is the point that is happening in my motherland, Syria. This is a slogan of our company, and these are our main tracks of activity. And today I would like to shed light to main pillars of the healthcare in terms of pharmaceutical and medical equipment areas in Islamic countries and in Syria in particular. And then we will define the obstacles which hinder our efforts. And this is actually based on our long-term work. And I would like to suggest some measures to activate ways of cooperation with the Russian Federation and Islamic world. As a matter of fact, the healthcare system financing is a crucial component for the support of healthcare system and its distribution and use for medical services for the citizens, and the total spends is a very important indicator for the volume of pharmaceutical production and medical services. According to latest statistical data, according to WHO, the average is 11% across the world for healthcare. And in current circumstance and situation in the world, what number it can be at the world level and what real services of healthcare it reflects. Islamic Cooperation Organization in its recent report showed that for Islamic countries have about 4.5%, so nearly twice as less than the average. And we can imagine how dangerous this figure is. 11% is a catastrophic level in the world, and we can take developing countries, it's about 26% for healthcare. And unfortunately, we don't have latest data at our disposal, but we know that a sector of healthcare in Syria is one of the most important sectors supported by the state. And this is the statistics on Islamic Cooperation Organization countries, members. And in spite of those difficulties we face due to sanctions against Syrian Republic, we have been working on providing medications for incentivizing local pharmaceutical industry, and we try to move this sector forward, and including pharmaceutical export. We see the share of export, which is 10% we import and 90% is local production. Syrian government is continuously supporting investments in hospital sector, and Syria is the place of destination of many neighboring countries to obtaining competitive medical services for neighboring countries. But the economic situation, which is a result of sanctions against Syrian people, led to inflation and decreasing the level of income for household, and we have particular sanctions against certain hospitals in Syria. The major hospitals in Syria were included in the sanction list. And I would like to mention as well, this is the statistics of our healthcare ministry for the year of 2000 to 2022. I would like to also mention about systematic attacks of terrorists in our infrastructure pharmaceutical sector infrastructure. Many objects have been destroyed, and terrorists filmed how they blew these buildings actually. We should also remember about Tamiko factory for pharmaceutical production. It's a state facility. The Constitution of Syria guarantees the right for its citizens to obtain free healthcare services. So we were able to provide about 90% of our pharmaceutical needs due to our local manufacturer. And of course, there is an opportunity to expand our cooperation in pharmaceutical fields with other countries. And we have to deal with a few obstacles which hinder our cooperation with European Union countries' cooperation. And the main obstacle in this sense, we consider that the major obstacle is the difference in requirements for registering the pharmaceutical companies' production, and the difference in Islamic countries in this regard led to certain difficulties for testing the quality of the manufacturing certain products, and it led to delays. Another issue is logistical problems, bank channels disruptions due to Western sanctions towards certain Islamic countries and from European Union, which led to a decreasing of internal trade between Middle East and European Union. So we suggest a few solutions, and here I would like to list a number of measures in our future cooperation with the Islamic world and the Russian Federation to increase the level of internal trade, pharmaceutical equipment and medications, signing contracts for mutual acceptance of medications and conditions of registration, we have such agreements already in place with certain countries, which led to increasing the number of the turnover, and it led us to removing the deficit. And Ministry of Health of Syria signed such an agreement with Belarus. And our company, KH Group, has made a great contribution in signing this contract between Syria and Belarus. And this agreement enabled us to provide, so we signed this agreement between our countries, and it was in 2015, and it led to providing the local market and some medicines. Belarusian companies that helped us to saturate our market with necessary medicines.
So another agreement is with Iran. We also had such an agreement, and due to this agreement we could enter some other medicaments to the market, and we have such agreement with some other companies. So another solution is establishment of the Eurasian Islamic Food and Drug Administration. We have a European organization, ISO. So we have some regulations, some rules, the same standards in different countries. So according to these standards, we can get the same Eurasian certificate of quality for medicaments. Just a second. So these certificates can help us to understand what is the quality of medications and medical equipments. So we can, together with the Halal organization, make up a new organization that will help us to accept the quality of medication in our countries. As for quality control of Russian medications, we have some conditions that were signed in 1995, and we have international practice named PIC/S, and the main interest, the main rule of this agreement is to make a good quality for manufacturing. So today we are seeing together in Russia, and we are making a good value to Eurasian unity, and making new standards, making new measures for healthcare. So today we are establishing unified standards for registration of medications and medical equipment. So we wanted, together with Muslim countries, and European Union to make a certificate that every pharmaceutical company could get, and make sure that the quality of their medications is good. This will help to enlarge the value of trade market in our countries. Right now in Syria, we need to spend 1 or 2 years for medication to enter the market. So we need to make unified conditions and standards for manufacturing according to GMP. So this organization would help us to get all their researches, medical researches, unified, so we can share our experience and we can make the unified treatment plans and so on. Also, we can make joint laboratories and research centers to monitor the situation. So we can recall the COVID-19 situation. It would help us more if we had such organization, if we had such same regulation in our countries, so we could save more lives. Another solution is to make investment fund and make Islamic hospitals in Islamic countries to make sure that these hospitals are working according to all the standards of quality, and making financial aids to these hospitals. We can recall the Sputnik vaccine for COVID-19 in Russia. This vaccine was implemented to other countries too, and we could exchange our experience, our researches, and so on. Another measurement could be a banking system for our companies. So I need to speed up a little bit. So I ask all of you to invest to medical and healthcare system in my country, in Syria. So we have some benefits. It's custom policy and low taxes. We are open to the world, and I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you so much, but I have one more word. Today we are talking about health, about health care of our people, and we see how people suffer in our countries. In Gaza, we all know what is happening there today. We are not talking about politics. I just talk about common people, fathers, mothers, children. They have the same feelings, and they die every day. They don't have hospitals. All the hospitals are ruined. They don't have water. They don't have food. They don't have medications. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't stand to mention this situation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Kutaiba Hassan. You spent a lot of time to prepare for today, and we are so glad to see you here. We are so happy to be here. You mentioned European Economical Union. You mentioned the unified regulations in our countries and entering the market. and I believe that it was good for you to speak that you are the first speaker today, and right now I would like to um, make the microphone to our colleague, to Vadim Klinichenko. I'm representing the Ministry of Healthcare in Russia, and I'm so glad to be here today. Today mentioned good questions and the success. So I would like to mention that the situation in Russia is quite good. We are so friendly, and today I would like to share my experience with you. First of all, I would like to start with the one peculiarity uh, of distribution of medications, of sharing the responsibilities between our government, between different ministries in Russia and controlling organizations. So before medication could enter the market, so the main role of regulating either for Ministry of Health of Russia and Ministry of Industry and Trade in Russia. Registry of new medication is application. It is international standard, and if everything is fine, if our controlling organs say that everything is fine, so the pharmaceutical company can have this certificate and follow up. The Ministry of Health will take care of controlling and regulating transition to the rules of for circulation of medicines according to the EAU rules. So we had an agreement in 2015. So we have the same rules for getting this certificate, and right now we have another agreement on what stages the medicine should get through to get the certificate. So right now we have two steps. On the slide you can see how our system was transformed. After the first step in 2021, the union members could register new medicine only according to unified rules. So in 2022, we ended this period, and our systems were unified. So all the registry documents were unified. But we all know that in 2019 we had a pandemic, and we need to make some temporary rules for new medicines to enter the market, and I will talk about it later. So on this slide you can see the current situation of registration procedures in our countries. So Russia is a leader here. You can see that more than 70% of registry procedures are going according to the union regulations. So the result is efficiency and quality, good quality of medicines. So as for temporary rules that right now we have in Russia, the first one is the pandemic situation in 2019. That year changed the system, and we have two points that I would like to share with you today. Why, in a short period of time, we um, could enter new medications to the market. The first point is the regulation of registry and application. So all the medication could enter the list, even though they didn't finish their researches. But according to their plans for future clinical researchers, we allowed them to enter this list. And after that, we had 8 months later, we had new vaccine, Sputnik, and antivirus medications. And moreover, the second point is we have a monitoring system in Russia. It is a digitalized system, so we can monitor and control how many patients do we have, what kind of medicines do we have, and the mobile devices that can control the medical state of patients. As for economical difficulties, I can say that we successfully overcome all the difficulties because we were flexible. We had our lesson during the pandemic situation. So right now we have digitalized instruments that were made up together with the government. So registry, import and export of new medicines in Russian Federation can be on federal and subject levels. So we have federal commission between the subjects that will control the quality and make decisions of temporary periods or another peculiarities of entering the medicine to the market. For example, if Western countries lift Russian market, so what can we do in this situation? And in 10 to 25 days, we can register new medicine. We can apply for in pharmaceutical companies and help them to enter Russian market. As for regulation system in Russia, we can say that it is flexible, but of course our top priority is safety of our patients, of our citizenships. So but we understand that our regulation cannot disturb their business. As for medicine provision, for how this can help common people, so we have government guarantees that can help our people to get preferential medicine, some subsidies. We have a special group of people that's concerning elderly people, children, and last year you can see how financial aids changed. You can see it on the slide. This is financing from our government budget. So we provide medicines for 14 diseases, for example, HIV, AIDS, oncology, cardiovascular diseases, and so on. And moreover, our president, Mr. Vladimir Putin, in 2021 um, made a charity fund, Circle of Goodness, and this charity fund help people in need to get a free medicine, free care, free medical help. As for Russian market, the market value is increasing. Right now it's about 3 trillion rubles, and in 2023 we produced more than 6 billions of medicine. And together we made new project in next in class social therapy and so on. Ministry of Health of Russian Federation made medical technology transfer center that help to regulate the registration of new medications and also get support to research for researches and patents. Of course, we are so interested in making new technologies, making new medicines, and we are making tenders, government purchasing, and so on. Thank you so much.
Yes, for sure. Our regulatory system in the Russian Federation is very flexible, and depending on those challenges we face, we react swiftly and find solutions to that. And as it was mentioned previously, health is not a privilege, it's the right. But it is not possible without both those medicines that are available on the market and those which are innovative and those which we are looking for, finding some perspectives. And I would like to give the floor now to Denis Vinokurov, Director for International Development and Communications, the company called CAMRAR Group. Thank you so much, Elena. I greet everyone. Vadim, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm glad to greet Denis. It is very important that we are able to meet together, and I would like to bring warm greetings to our foreign guests. And Elena and Vadim, in their speeches, has already touched on the topic of deficit, and we would like to get you acquainted with our Russian context a little bit. What did we face? Of course, we work and we will be working with Western companies, even from big pharma. But the fact is a fact. Some companies just fold their activity and left the market, and others said we won't be financing Russian clinical research. And it is the matter of trust, first of all. Why it is important? Because this is health and life of our people. And fortunately, we have domestic pharmaceutical enterprises, and our first strategy in this sense, the program of development Pharma 2020, and another one which has been approved recently, Pharma 2030. It enabled us to create modern system of manufacture. We have learned how to create quality generics by similarities and innovational ingredient to this process. Why is it important? Because there is a resistance, and if we treat ourselves with only reproduced medications, we will be left without advanced therapeutic medications, and there is a number of enterprises like Kemrar. Kemrar is one of them, and Vadim mentioned first antivirus medicine developed by Kemrar for COVID-19 treatment. So we learned how to manufacture innovative original medicines, and we know how it works, how the production works. And our friend from Syria mentioned about this as well. We've got a project in Syria and in Algeria and Turkey, and our medicines that are offered for these markets, generics as well, which are high marginal quality stuff. We actually focus anyway on innovative medicines, and many other companies that are involved in innovations are entering Russia in spite of all the regulations difficulties, and so we work closely together in one front, working that our regulatory system would be approved in the world, because it actually complies with all the international standards, but our partners should know about it and realize it. And it is sort of a club of countries that are keeping this regulatory systems in their hands, but the export potential for our medicines are still very high, and the innovation of pharmaceuticals is something we have to be involved with actively. It's the matter of security and state prestige, as a matter of fact. So we've got many outstanding chemists. Let's recall Mr. Mendeleev. It speaks of a lot, and we are doing many things, but there are options. How can we reduce this route, shorten it in terms of collective innovative development cycle? It may take 5, 10, or even 15 years. Last year we registered one innovative medicine that took 15 years for the development. And we can look at few developments of friendly countries. They have very interesting molecules. In Islamic world in particular, there are such cases in Iran, Egypt, and Southeastern Asia, Indonesia. So we can work parallelly, performing clinical research with countries, creators of the medicines, and legalize it in Russia and other countries of Eurasian Union. It reduces the time for bringing the advanced medicine in the market. And of course, when we speak of the mutual development at early stages, developing new molecules, creating the medicines of the future, and there are structures like Ministry of Health who are in charge of medical technologies, and it is very relevant in this context. For example, creating a joint screening centers that we would be able to screen patients jointly with our BRICS Plus countries, an extended group of countries, to do actively this work in the research, creating research centers, raising this issue that we are planning to do in September in the BRICS Plus summit in Moscow and in Kazan, of course. This is a very good question to discuss. As for export potential, it is mutually profitable to create advanced solutions in innovative pharmaceuticals. We suggest our markets and other countries quality products, alternative products that are good alternative to those medications manufactured by big pharma. And we would like to welcome the participants of all of us in this section. Thank you so much once again for the organization, and let's unite our efforts and work together with the Islamic world, building new innovational pharmaceuticals and future medicines. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Denis, for such an emotional speech. You really charged us. You are completely right. You mentioned Pharma 2020, Pharma 2030. Pharma 2020 was actually aimed to import substitution, to develop first generic medicines, and now we are aiming creation of innovative medicines and developing export potential of our pharma. We are glad to see Denis Pushilin. We have seen their enterprises. I actually visited them on my own. I believe they will join us soon. And their participants in the development is really important. Your potential in the region is pretty high. And to get acquainted more closely with our mechanisms we have in place for cooperation and export potential, I would like to give the floor to Elvira Mohamedshina, Medical Director of MENA region of Farm Group of Companies. Thank you so much for your introduction, dear colleagues. I'm glad to greet you all at this forum. And conducting such a scale event is really very important, and I am pleased because this is my native town. And for you, it will also deliver great pleasure and joy because Kazan is a city with great history, and you will have an opportunity to look around and see historical monuments and landmarks that are here, located here, to taste local cuisine, and you will not find anything like that in other corners of the world. So I wish you fruitful work, and please don't forget that you are visiting one of the ancient cities in the Russian Federation. Dear colleagues, I would like to support all of our previous speakers, and of course definitely the health of a human is one of the main ingredients. If we don't have health, all of our other interests and activities will not bring any good and happiness. They will be useless. And so any pharmaceutical company task is to preserve human health, and without pharmaceutical companies, doctors would not have in tools to save lives, to help, to diagnose, to screen patients that actually were considered untreatable. And there are many tracks that are developed by pharmaceutical companies. We learn how to identify certain diseases that previously brought to death were lethal, and we have to be able to diagnose properly in the right time and to extend human life expectancy as we can. And our pharmaceutical industry is kind of a unique, and our colleagues mentioned that the territory of the Russian Federation actually was always covered by many international pharmaceutical companies who were able to deal with a lot of patients, but many of them have left the market, and our own domestic industry is developing really quickly, and our Russian pharmaceutical companies are really unique. And in the short term, we were able to actually conduct R&D research that usually take a lot of time. And the Russian pharma has people, knowledge, international approaches that we use in our work. And any Russian pharmaceutical company has a lot of medication that we can share, not only inside the country, but with each other. And there are countries that are interested in it, and having our own medications, generics, similarities, and others. Russian pharmaceutical industry is working quite actively in creating innovative medications. And maybe previously we were involved mostly in generic production, but now any pharmaceutical company in Russia can boast having their own innovative medicine in their portfolio, which would be interesting not only for Russian market but for international community as well, and in particular for those countries that we are actively cooperating with, developing joint projects, bilateral cooperation, and this is very useful for many countries, and for Russian pharmaceutical industry and Russian pharmaceutical companies. We can share our technologies that will be very well known across the globe. And we would like to share our experience and knowledge that we have accumulated. Russian companies are sustaining the educational system. For example, when a person comes to a factory, they have little knowledge of how the pharmaceutical industry works and how the factory is working. What is R&D, by the way? Some time ago, education for such specialists was actually very narrow, and due to the fact that pharmaceutical companies are having an active dialogue with higher educational establishments, institutions, and so on and so forth, we can train employees and workers for pharmaceutical industry from the very beginning, which is very important, and we can share this experience. We've accumulated a lot of knowledge here that will be useful for other countries, and I would like to tell you that we cooperate with universities in the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, and it brings certain fruits. Maybe they are not just 1 minute interest, but it is very important for country pharmaceutical and health security, and we can also share the experience in regulatory activity. Any of that requires clinical research and so on and so forth. We have a lot of experience in clinical research and our own innovative medications in UAE, Turkey, and here we can find many common grounds that would be interesting for us and other countries' regulators, patients, and companies of the other countries. And of course, when we are conducting joint clinical research, we are optimizing our regulatory requirements, GMP standards, and when we go to other countries' markets. Of course, that would be useful to speak of regulatory partnerships in this sense. Scientific research, partner relations between different companies from our countries and countries of the Islamic world. So I would like to challenge you, please do this, and we've got a lot to share. We have and innovative pharmaceuticals which are very efficient, sometimes even more than those of the other countries' production. So many co-workers would support me on that, and that we are ready to share our experience and best practices with you. Thank you so much, dear friends. Thank you. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Punia, Executive Director of pharmaceuticals GSC. Dear friends, participants of the forum, I'm glad to greet all of you. I would like to mention that Middle East countries are quite actively developing different spheres of industry and pharmaceutical clusters in particular. And pharmaceutical industry actually is what we are talking about now. This is a very important track, and our main goal for our countries is medication safety, and Russia has gone a long way for creating efficient medication production.
And making efficient productions in Russia, so we could defeat all the macroeconomical difficulties. Innovational medications is a result of making new our own medication instead of import medications. Pharmaceutical industry in Russia is one of the best in the region, and in the field of making generic products. So we can see MENA countries, GCC countries, and some other countries. So right now we are making new our own country products and export them to some other countries. For example, Morocco, Turkey, Republic, Egypt, and some other countries. We are so competitive in Iran, and talking about that, our company is a good example in Russia. Pharmaceuticals is one of the biggest manufacturers in Russia. We're making high social value medicines, and we have 27-year experience in this field. We have produced more than 300 type of products in different fields. We have 5 factories in different countries, in different cities in Russia, for example, St. Petersburg, Ussurisk, Bratsk, and making some new and localizing our products in other countries too, for example in Armenia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and some other countries. Also, we are localizing our manufacturing in MENA countries. So we are open for joint cooperation. We will be so glad to cooperate with you. As I said, More than 60 products are already registered in other countries, and we are improving these figures. We have several projects for MENA countries. For example, in Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Yemen, Libya, uh, United Arab Emirates, and some other countries. Um, I would like to mention that the biggest difficulty for us is to register new products in Arab countries. It is a very difficult procedure, and right now we have only one companion, only one country um, that is easy to mutually accept the registration documents. Today, Mr. Hassan has already told about making the unified system of registration. I was really happy to hear that. We will talk about that more thoroughly, and that will be a great opportunity for Russian companies. We Our company is so interested in making the process of getting a registration and licenses more quicker, more faster. Some countries are not using CAG convention for getting the licenses, and sometimes it takes more than a year for getting these certificates, so it making our cooperation is very slow. So right now I would like to make more cooperation with Arab countries. Right now our company has plans. We have some great plans for researches and making new era technologies in medication. Thank you so much. I was really glad to be here. Nikita, thank you so much to you. We have some kind of supports for companies, not only regulatory support, but also, for example, a Russian expert center. They have their own kind of supports, and the head, the International Development Manager of Russian Expert Center, Elvira. Welcome, please. Of course, Middle East was a top priority region for our country. Of course, it's a big region, and but this is not a main question. The main question is that these countries, for example, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and so on, they have some programs, for example, Vision 23, 24, 25, where the pharmaceutical industry is playing the biggest role. They have great government support for import and export of medical products, but also they have their own research centers. They have good technologies. We have a lot of requests from Arab countries for import their products to Russia, and they come to me and ask that and said that the level of pharmaceutical industry in Russia is very high. I'll give you some figures. In 2023, we gave support for more than 100 companies, not only Russian companies, but also foreign companies too. And the total value is more than $100 million. We have requests from different countries, for example, Yemen, Algeria, Egypt, and so on. And the most companies were MSP companies that making hygiene products, not medicines. And of course, we help these companies. We help them to find a good business partner, to make a good business model for entering Russian market. Of course, the system of business in Arabian countries is different. It's not the same with Russia. As and some Arabian countries have simple and fast process of application and registration new medicine, but some countries don't have such simple system, and sometimes it takes more than a year to for new medicine to enter market. We are working together with a lot of countries with a lot of Arabian countries. We are working with their embassies, with consuls. Sometimes we are making agreements with ministries, and our support is also concerns preparing the documents for application. We also help with logistics. I would like to give you an example. Iraq company in Kirkuk region. This is quite a big region. They have big population. They spent 2 years to establish cooperation with a Russian company, but only together with our support they could enter the market. And today their product is being sold in almost every drugstore in Iraq, in that region. Moreover, right now we are getting the certificates in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and some other countries. It is really difficult to work with Iraq, but we have a lot of requests from that country. As for Oman, this is a beautiful country, and as I already mentioned, they have the social program Vision 23, 24, 25, and pharmaceutical industry playing a big role in this program. And we are cooperating with the Ministry of Investments and some other government organs in Oman. So how do we work? We are working with special economic zones, with the heads of these zones, and help them to find the residents, or maybe opening new branch offices for joint companies, Russian and Oman companies. For example, half of the company is Russian and half of the company is Oman. So if you're interested in this project, you're always welcome to contact me. Also, I would like to say that Middle East market is a big market. We are ready to help Russian companies in every sphere of the life, and sometimes, and right now we have a new project to find a Russian supplier. We had 8 cases to make direct direct cooperation with the Russian companies. So if you want to improve your company, you're always welcome. Do you have this information on your website? So, of course, on our website you can find all the services that we provide. For example, find out the business partner. Right now we have this service in 12 countries, and we are planning to open our office in Saudi Arabia, Iran. In these countries we are ready to help. But if we have foreign countries request from foreign countries, from foreign companies to find contacts of Russian companies, so we can forward this request to Ministry of Industry and Trade of Russian Federation. Of course, they have the list of Russian companies that are ready to enter foreign market, and we are ready to help, so we will find the solution for every case. Of course, right now we in need to research new types of medicine, for example, generic products and so on. And the biggest issue for regulation system is to make quality control. And I would like to give the word to Selim El-Girmay. Доброе утро всем присутствующим.
Health as a source of solidarity and development. But first of all, I want to thank the Russian Federation for the organization of this event, and the OIC for its contribution to this forum, Kazan City for its warm welcome. It's a very beautiful city, and also want to thank all members and stakeholders who contributed to this event. Okay. First, it's important to remember the definition of health, which is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. History shows that human being has been able to develop his capacity to face the risks and to respond to his needs depending on his knowledge, his way of life, and on the situation of the world. In this context, placing health in first priority constitutes a warranty for the safety and the development of humankind. This priority for health is also something very important in the Islam religion, which consider health as a major concern through a couple of important pillars of the religion, through the profession of faith, which is a source of spiritual balance for the mind, prayer, which is a sort of hygiene, physical exercise, stretching, support for the blood circulation, balance for the biological clock. Next. Balance for the biological clock, magnetic energy also for the body. Also, the Ramadan, the fasting of Ramadan has demonstrated so many benefits for the health. Regulation of the endocrine and digestive systems, inhibition of development of tumors and some cancerous pathologies, reduction of weight, excess and toxins, and so on. And also the Friday weekly prayer, which strengthens social relationships and helps social integration and solidarity. Again, also concerning the position of health in the Islamic religion, the Holy Quran shows so many interesting words about remedies and some important principle for a better health. Through Surah Al-Baqarah, for example, through also Surah Al-Nahl, through also Surah Al-Isra, which shows so many interesting principles and advices for a better health. Next. Better health has always been an important preoccupation, and the history shows an acceleration of the risks, an increase of our needs, and also by the same time we have achieved a great development of our capacity to face the challenges. By the past, population was small, and now our population is very important. Our way of life was separate, and now we live more than ever intermixed. Trade and exchanges were limited and became very extended. Logistics were limited and became very developed. Means of transport were limited and slow and became very developed and fast. Health and sciences were weak and are becoming more and more developed. And also our needs were limited and became important at the same time. And logically, our capacity to face the challenges and the crises from weak became more developed. And as an example, I want to show you how important is the change in the world. In only 3 centuries, our population is expecting to be multiplied by 10, from 1 billion people in the year 1800 to more than 10 billion people in 2100. And this shows how important is our challenge. It is so fast in such a small period compared to the history. Also, it's important to consider the risks we are facing and the acceleration of the risks. Just in a period of 70 years, we came from 0 people traveling by plane to 5 billion people traveling into high distances. And this is very interesting to show. Almost 1 person over 2 are traveling by plane, and this shows how important is the intermix between the people and the risks of infection in the world. These people are carrying with them so many potential diseases, so many potential infections. Also, to illustrate the great evolution of the world is also the sea freight. In only 50 years, the sea freight has been multiplied by 40. And this shows how important are the exchanges and how important the risks are becoming today. With the carry of sea freight, we also face the risk of transferring so many infections, bacteria, viruses all over the world in a so fast time. And to illustrate this change, you can see here in 1818 the cholera epidemic. In around a little more than 20 years, humanity lived a very important epidemic of cholera with more than 2 million deaths. But the consequences were not so much important because people were not living intermixed and the exchanges were very weak and transportation also. 1 century later, no, avant. 1 century later, the Spanish flu in the early 1918, which is 1 century later, you can see the consequences of the Spanish flu with more than 50 million deaths, which is very important at that time, and it has been limited because of the weak transport, weak exchanges between the countries in the world. But now, if you consider COVID-19, 1 century later after Spanish flu, what happened? Look at that. In less than 6 months, all the planet has been facing the COVID, and so many million people were infected by COVID, and we had 7 million deaths, which is a great performance for humanity because we have been able to face that thanks to the development of our knowledge and thanks to the development of communication, being able to stop the frontiers, to stop traffic, sea freight traffic, airplanes, and everything has been stopped. And even the economy has been stopped in so many countries. And this shows also, you can see the consequences between the consequence of health on development. But we need to remain very, very realistic because COVID is not finished. We may live in the future some other infections, and we need to take a good experience of what we faced and the good lesson of what we faced by the past. Because if you consider only in 60 years, we have discovered more than 300 new diseases. Most of them are coming from new living environments for humans, which most of them are located in North America and Europe. But later, after 2000, the extension of the living environment of human being will show a lot of new diseases in Africa, in the Arab countries, and other places in the world. And we need to remain very realistic, very careful, and very responsible about what can happen in the future. And this is why it's very important to be united and to share our knowledge in order to prevent so many deaths and so many dangerous consequences. And we need also to be grateful to the great scientists who helped us to reach this knowledge we have today. We can talk about some great scientists, but first, it is important just to remind a very interesting sentence from the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, who said, there are only 2 sciences, theology to save our soul and medicine to save our body. We can talk about some great scientists in the Islam history, like Ibn Sina, who left a great legacy and wrote so many important books which were translated in many languages and served as a base for the medicine during centuries in Europe. We can talk also about Ar-Razi, who also wrote so many books which were references in the world of medicines. And we can also talk about Ibn Rushd, who was considered as the prince of science and who brought so many interesting studies which were translated in many countries all over the world and served until the 18th century. So health and development are working together hand in hand. And when we talk about development, we are not talking about only economic development or social development. We are talking about global human development. Economic development is dealing with income, global personal investment, costs, and money. Social development is dealing with education, citizenship, order in the society, justice, equity. But human development is the result of mixing all these developments, economic and social, and trying to achieve a good human development means that we focus on people, which are the real wealth of a nation. And by the end, if we reach a good human development, it means that people will live a healthy life with a good life expectancy and good disease statistics. And by the end, it will mean that people will live a healthy, positive mind and will participate actively to the development of its beloved family, company, and country. And therefore, it's important to consider health not as an expense, but we need to consider health as an investment. So the major dimensions of human development are living standards, education, and health. As a health professional, and especially as a specialist or pharmaceutical specialist, I will focus on health and medicines. What do we take as medicine in the world? It's important to see that from a region to another, there are very big differences. Dr. Hassan from Syria talked about the weakness of their market, that they have so many shortage of drugs and they are facing very big problems. So it's very important to consider that there are great challenges that we need to work on. More than 70% of the drugs are taken by maybe 25% of the population. And this means that probably 75% of the world take only 25% of the drugs in the world. So this means a very important gap between the populations. Okay. So what do we use in drugs? We can see also that in the same regions of the world, there are very big differences. Look, for example, Austria with annual average around 500 euros, and in the United States, almost 1,000 euro. So we have also great differences with the same developed regions. And it's important also to study what do we use, what kind of drug we use. And we can see that the drugs that are used more and more are oriented towards chronic diseases. And all this means that the population is growing and the population is aging. And the epidemiology shows that we have more chronic diseases and we are facing more risk in global health. And the treatments are longer in time and more expensive, and especially in oncology. All this means that health system in our countries must be more performant and more cost-effective. And we need also to understand that the crises we have faced, the wars we have faced, and the epidemics means that we need to have more health safety and more therapeutic independence, and to rely on our own resources. So to develop health and human development, we need to work on three major axes. First one is law and regulation, and this is for the governments and at the highest level. We need to have health and drug authorities available with skilled people able to perform their duties. We need to have responsible people, and we need to have also laws to ensure equity and access to health. We need to have significant budgets, and we need also an efficient management of the health budget. Minimum 15% of the budget should be dedicated to health, which is not the case in so many countries. We also need to support to ensure the legal circuit of the drugs, because in so many countries we find sub-quality drugs and counterfeit drugs, and we need to have good quality drugs for the people. Drug sector also is the second axle, and we need to have quality drugs, affordable, and we need to have good professionals and support R&D to have always the latest drugs available for the people, not old, as we can see in many countries. And last axle is the medical sector with the physicians and the clinics. I wanted also to mention that solidarity is something very important. We have shown that Morocco, we are very proud to have given assistance to so many foreign countries in period of crisis or natural disasters in Africa and even in some Arabic sister countries. So if I came here as official Vice President of the Federation of Moroccan Industry, Pharmaceutical Industry, and as a Moroccan citizen, we came here for a specific proposition, which is to create a committee which is not existing in the OIC. We propose the creation of a health committee within the OIC, which can be based at the beginning in Casablanca, which will include all the members of the OIC and Russia with the purpose to develop health and medication as vector for our safety, our development, and our approachment. This committee could have 5 missions. First one, improve drug accessibility. Second one, improve drugs quality. Third one is to work on humanitarian aid and health support and medicine donation where needed. Fourth one, develop and share scientific and pharmaceutical knowledge and approach health authorities. And the fifth one is to support the clinical trials and the bioequivalence studies. This health committee could have great benefits for all the countries of the OIC. I hope I have not been too long. I thank you very much for your attention, and we have been very happy to come here in Kazan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, our time is up, but we still have 2 reports, and I would like to give the floor to our colleague from Turkey, Ms. Elvira Mohamedshah. Monawar Mamidi. I'm glad to greet all of you at this very interesting forum, and we are going to talk about pharmaceutical market in Turkey and the partnership opportunities. How do I activate this? Dr. Monawar Mamidi. Turkey is in a strategic location, which makes it an important participant in international pharmaceutical trade, and our company utilizes it for implementation of investments in this strategic sector for our economy, and a highly scientific industry is multiplying current development in new economic reality, and today we have certain conditions for Russian industry oriented to Turkey, and it's not Turkey is not only a logistical hub. It has a lot of opportunities for finding new partners. Pharmaceutical market of Turkey is 2.4 billion packages per year. It's 8.5% growth per year. As far as the sales, it is 7.7%. 69% is related to local Turkish production. What happens in pharmaceutical industry in Turkey? It is a priority industry. We have opened 42 scientific centers for research and development. For 1 year, we have obtained 148 patents in biotechnologies, 21 production facilities were created. There is an eco system in place for pharmaceutical industry, created the program for itself and implemented 239 segment, $239 billion investment. And we have a lot of international investments, $37.3 billion. We've got 12 manufacturing facilities for raw materials for pharmaceutical industry, and 6 companies with high level of GMP, which are open for international councils. And in the pharmaceutical industry itself, we produce more than 140,000 products, and are more than 42,000 people working there.
Это первая дистрибьюция готовых лекарств, затем совместное производство, оснащение и планирование производственных площадок. Коллеги, которые выступали сейчас до меня, я хотела бы сказать, что у нас месяц назад была делегация по комитету здравоохранения, и у нас была делегация с компанией НАУС организации, также были представители Эрфарма. То, что мы сделали, извините, сейчас минутку, это мы говорили, какие есть.
So what are there? How do we work together? Of course, the biggest is halal market, and also additional medication, biologically additional drugs. Also, we can concern joint manufacturers. Some colleagues from Russia are requesting us to make some technological documents, because we have 42 research centers that are working in this field. And of course, we have high level of joint cooperation. So right now we have plans to open new manufacturers and to share our experience to the world. We are open for cooperation. Also, we are a big supplier of raw materials for pharmaceutical industry. We have European and American certificates, for example, GMP, and some others. We are also a member of business of Eurasian Union. We have some joint project, international project, not only in the business field but also in charity funds. We help to provide medical equipment to hospitals of different countries, and working with other countries is really important for us. We are open for cooperation, and I hope that this forum will be successful for all of us. Research centers and manufacturers in Turkey are ready for cooperation. We are ready to discuss all the questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear Munavar. We don't have so much time, so we are almost done for today. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much, organizing committee of Kazan Forum. Thank you so much to our translators today, and to all of helpers today. As for new projects, new delegations, I wish you good luck. Today is a good weather, so have a nice day. Goodbye.